airport staff has since this morning been on strike following the breakdown of negotiations between the workers' union and the airport over pay cuts. Only a skeleton crew is currently operating to maintain crucial operations at the airport, but heavy delays are already affecting this morning's traffic and most connections for the day have been cancelled following the announcement. An airport spokesperson commented, "We regret the decision by the union to take such a drastic step, as we do not see it as a proportionate response and urge workers to return to their work and the union back to the negotiation table." The union said in a statement that its members could not accept a pay cut and demanded instead a pay raise of 5% and better benefits.
$100, $50, $40, $30, $20, $10, $5.
Hello and welcome to Cardiff Airport that on this November morning is descending into chaos. After months of rising tensions between the airport's management and its staff, the brewing conflict has finally erupted as large parts of the airport's personnel has entered into a strike in protest against possible pay cuts. A skeleton crew is currently keeping essential services at the airport going and tries to turn around aircraft that already are at the airport, while most connections to take place later this day already have been cancelled. For the moment, it looks like the remaining workers are focusing on aircraft that are parked at the terminal. And over here we find the first aircraft of today's airport tour, which is this ERJ-170 of Alitalia. The aircraft still has 40 minutes left until its scheduled departure, but so far no ground crews have had time to work on the aircraft. The flight hasn't been cancelled yet, but will surely end up being delayed. Next we have a Swiss Avro 100, which as one of very few planes today actually has managed to push out on time and will be heading to Basel. All remaining flights to Basel for the day have however been cancelled. This British Airways ERJ-145 was pulled into the ramp after having finished its maintenance and is scheduled to return into service in 1 hour with a flight to Glasgow. So far there are no news whether the flight will be executed, but a cancellation is likely. 10 minutes left until its scheduled pushback has this Airbus A320 of Aer Lingus. Procedures have been delayed, so the aircraft is still being loaded and boarding has only just begun. Ground crews are however working hard to minimize the delay of the flight to Dublin. Already massively delayed and still far from ready for its flight to London Heathrow is this A320 of British Airways. The flight will be executed but is likely to be the airline's only flight to London for today. Next we have a 737-500 of Air France. The skeleton crews are struggling to handle all aircraft on time, and also here the first duty is pulling up at the aircraft 10 minutes after its scheduled departure. The flight crew is eager to get going, but a hefty delay will be unavoidable. Then we find this Fokker 100 of Helvetic that is scheduled to return to Zurich this morning. However, as no work has yet been done and there is only 20 minutes left until its scheduled departure, the airline has decided to cancel the flight and will try to execute the flight over midday instead. The 737-300 of Virgin Express has arrived into this chaos 10 minutes ago. Despite the situation on the ground, the aircraft is already being serviced. If this will also be the case for the outbound flight is however unforeseeable. A streak of bad luck seems to have struck this UT Air TU-154. The aircraft was originally scheduled to have left yesterday afternoon. This was however made impossible due to a technical defect that took all night to be fixed. The flight was rescheduled for this morning, but now due to the strike the flight has again been postponed. The chaos the strike has caused is definitely not the best first impression for this new airline at the airport. Air Arabia has only recently started flying to Cardiff, serving the route to Casablanca with one of their A320s. Needless to say that this morning's departure already is delayed, but at least some ground crews have made it to the aircraft and are doing their best to serve this flight. Transavia has taken the drastic step and has cancelled this morning's flight to Eindhoven, leading passengers and aircraft to be stranded at the airport. The airline is currently working on rescheduling the flight, but there is no information yet about a possible new departure time. This CRJ 700 of Lufthansa is operating on the airline's Munich route. 45 minutes after its scheduled departure, it looks like some first GSE and ground crews have pulled up to start working on the flight. The flight crew now hopes to get the aircraft ready for a departure in about 30 minutes. This Avro 100F of TNT still has 40 minutes until its scheduled flight to Liège, but the airline's flight dispatch is currently looking into whether the flight can be executed or will have to be cancelled. And with that, it's time for some more news. Air Dolomiti announces return. The airline announced it had learned from its previous endeavour at Cardiff Airport and is now confident that it has the right product for the Welsh market to sustain profitable operations. The new route will for the first time connect Cardiff with Milan Malpensa Airport, as the route is set to start beginning of the new year. Ryanair versus Cardiff Airport, a volatile relation. Following last month's very public falling out between the airport and one of its most important customers, the airport management is eager to mend its relationship with Ryanair. An airport spokesperson commented, "Ryanair is and will continue to be an important airline at Cardiff Airport. We believe in our product and believe it is a great platform for Ryanair to continue to grow." He continued, "We believe both Cardiff Airport and Ryanair are stronger together and see a bright future together." Now it is a well-known fact that the relationship between the airport and Ryanair is a strained one, and although the airport management is trying to mend its relationship with the airline, it is difficult not to note that in today's chaos the remote stands so far have been thoroughly neglected, something the airline's representatives have also noticed, as this could become problematic given that the vast majority of Ryanair flights are executed from just those remote stands. The first aircraft we find over here is, however, a Fokker 70 of Marliv that, with a planned departure at 20 minutes past 8 in the morning, still has plenty of time. This will most likely also be necessary looking at the current situation at the airport. Next we find an ERJ 145 of British Airways that had a scheduled flight to Manchester earlier this morning, which however has been cancelled, and for now will remain here until the airline again decides to start up operations. Still working on a possible departure are the airline representatives and the crew of this Air Berlin 737-700 that is scheduled to return to Munich this morning. It is however still eerily quiet around the aircraft. Eerily quiet is also the best description of the situation around the Ryanair 737-200, which was scheduled on a flight this morning to Malaga, which however has been cancelled. A fuel truck is just now arriving at the ERJ 170 of Cirrus Airlines. Obviously it will not be managing a on-time departure for its flight to London City, but at least there seems to be hope that the aircraft will be able to leave Cardiff this morning. This is however not the case for the 737-200 of Ryanair that was supposed to be heading to Bergamo this morning, but this flight, just like this other Ryanair 737-200 that should have been flying to Dublin, have been cancelled, as the airline now has announced that indeed all remaining flights of the day from Cardiff have been cancelled, leaving many hundreds of passengers stranded. And taxiing past all these stranded planes in the remote stands is this DC-88F of DHL that arrived a little early from New York and now will be heading over to the cargo ramp. lucky flights have managed to escape the chaos for now and are lining up at the runway entry. One of them is the 737-700 of KLM that with 45 minutes delay will be heading to Amsterdam. In second position at the runway is the 737-300 of DBA that with 50 minutes delay has managed to get on its way to Munich. Holding short and first in line is the 737-500 of Lufthansa that also with 50 minutes delay now is ready to head out of Cardiff and will be bringing its passengers to the airline's hub at Frankfurt Airport. Just arrived from Detroit and rolling down the runway is this Airbus A330-300 of Northwest Airlines. The crew had considered to divert to avoid possible strike-related difficulties, but unlike its competitors from Continental Airlines that decided to divert, the crew in coordination with the airline's dispatch center decided to land in Cardiff and against a possible diversion. Also, the GAT is feeling the impact of today's labor dispute as Cardiff Flight School has decided to cancel all flight lessons for today. Perhaps the only part of the airport that seems to be unaffected by today's events is the maintenance area. Here we find a 747-400 of British Airways that arrived for maintenance from London Heathrow. And also the smaller BA maintenance hangar is busy with an A320 in the hangar and in front of the hangar an Avro 100 that is getting ready to return into service with a transfer flight to London Heathrow scheduled at 8:30 in the morning. Now with that we have reached the end of this episode. If you have enjoyed the video then please consider to leave a like, and if you are new around here why not hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and see you in the next episode of Cardiff.
We full of life, you keep the change, keep the change. They hate and say we went and changed. I stay the same, you must be blinded by the lights. You must be blinded by the lights, lights. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. Now we high, high, high. Kaleidoscope of colors beaming from our eyes, eyes, eyes. Would've thought was LSD, LSD. Can't lose my mind like Kennedy, Kennedy. You see us cooking recipes, recipes. You hit the top, all you left with is the memories. Yeah, 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 yeah. Some faith that who gon' hurt this. I naughty night you lullaby. I'm doing me, it's do or die. You must be blinded by the lights. We came to shine here. Watch it look daytime in the night. We bring the vibes here. We full of